Hi, this is Reuven Lerner, and welcome back to my Python Standard Library video explainer series. And this time we're going to look once again at RE, the regular expression module, and we're going to look at match objects. So let's say I do something like this. Let's say I say here s equals my ID number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, very exciting, by the way, not my actual ID number. So let's say I want to search for a number in here. So I can say here m equals re dot search, and I'm going to say I'm looking for, let's look for \d plus. So I'm looking for any number of digits in there, and I'm going to look for that inside of s. And then what do? I say if m, print m group 0, else print no match. So far so good. All right, and we indeed found that number there. But wait a second. What is M? Well, the type of M is a match object, re.match. And it turns out that re.match can do a lot more than just return group 0 there. So first of all, what is group 0? Group 0 is whatever it happened to find. But what if, let's just modify this ever so slightly. So let's say I don't have an ID number. Let's say I have, sort of like in the US, a social security number. Let's just say SSN is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Also, not my actual social security number. And so if I want to, I can search for it, \d plus, but that's not going to work so well. I'm going to find 1, 2, 3. Why? Because regular expressions always find the first match, and it found here 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. But what if I want to find the social security number? I know it's going to be in the format of some numbers minus \d plus minus \d plus. I don't even have to do that. I can say here it's going to be 3 digits followed by 2 digits followed by 4 digits. And now when I search, sure enough, I found that. Again, so far so good. And group 0 will always find whatever I found. But let's say I want to break it apart. Let's say I want to get the first part, the second part, and the third part separately. Well, for that, I can actually use parentheses again for grouping. And again, this is all covered in my regular expressions crash course. If you go to regexcrashcourse.com, you'll get an email course where every day you'll get a new lesson on regular expressions. And here I'm getting, this is going to be group 1, group 2, group 3. And if I run this now, I get exactly the same result because group 0 is always going to show me the whole thing that was matched. But now I can also say print, let's do this, first is going to be m group 1. And then we're going to say here second is going to be m group 2. And then third we can say is going to be m group 3. Always helps to spell things correctly. And sure enough, now we can see that we were able to break it apart with groups. So the m.group allows us to grab individual groups, and m group 0 is the whole thing. What happens if we ask for a group that doesn't exist? So I'm just going to ask here for group 4, and it's going to give us an error here. It's going to say, wait a second, index error. There is no such group. Okay, so that's the basic way in which you can use m.group, the group method on our match object. But there are a few more things that we can do. So I'm going to say m group 0 to get the whole thing, m group 1 to get the first thing, and so on and so forth. What if I want to, though, find out where was it within the string? So I can say m.span, and that'll tell me from where until where in the string was our match. So if I look at s here, all right, if I say s10 until 21, sure enough, that's the entire match. So m.span is going to give me back here a tuple. I can't use the tuple directly, but I could say s of, well, actually, I guess I can't do this. Right, I can't say s of m_span. But I could say, like, well, okay, you don't really want to do this. Nah, it's not going to work. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to get super complicated with slice objects and so forth. Okay, what if I say m.pos? What was, oh, sorry. m.pos will tell me where did it start there, right? So I could say here s m.pos. So which, oh, which was the position here? I've got to look this up in the documentation that was passed to the regex object. So where in the string did it start looking? So here it started looking, well, at index 0. And if I say help on re.search, for example, right? So it's pattern string flags equals 0. So it's always basically going to start at the beginning. There's no reason not to. If I say m.endpos, where did it stop looking? Well, at 22. And if we look, we can say the length of s is 22. So basically what that pos and endpos means is, well, we're going to search on the entire string. Nothing too super exciting. What if I say here m.lastIndex? an m dot, I think I do index as well. No, m dot last index is where, what was the last integer, was the integer index of the last matched capturing group. Okay, or none, so fine. Basically what this means is if we look here at m dot groups, can we do that? Yeah. So you can see here that we got all the different groups here, and so last index is indicating the integer index of the last matched capturing group. So this is group 1, this is group 2, this is group 3. Meaning, when I said m dot group of 4, how did it know that it was too big? Well, because 4 is bigger than m dot last index. That was a pretty easy one. I also say m dot string. That will give me the original string that was passed to the match. And I can say m dot re. What was the regular expression? And notice, how do we get the regular expression back? We get it as a compiled regular expression object. So it took our regular expression, compiled it, and now it's sort of ready for reuse. So all that's kind of very nice and everything, but there's actually something kind of cooler. You saw over here I was able to do m dot groups, right? And that got me back all of them. So what if I say m dot group dict? Well, that's going to give me back, well, a dictionary, but an empty dictionary at that. How is that really going to help? It's not going to help, but we can change that. So if I go back here to my code, and you can see here that basically this is group 1, this is group 2, this is group 3. Wouldn't it be nice to give them names as well? Of course it would. Now this is going to get a little ugly. I'm going to say inside of group 1, I'm going to say here question mark P, and then in braces I'm going to say first. And then inside the second parenthesis, I'm going to say question mark P, second, and then question mark P, third. You might be saying, how is this possibly useful? So first of all, let's just do it m groups. And we're going to get the same groups as we did before, because we have our first group, second group, third group. But these are also named groups. So I can actually say m dot group dict. And watch this. Haha. The names inside of the angle brackets are now the keys inside of our dictionary. So this is a great way to identify individual parts inside your regular expression and then pull them out as necessary. All right, I really like group dict, especially when a really complex, hairy regular expression. Now, I must admit the naming looks kind of ugly. All right, looks very ugly. But the fact that you get a group dict back afterwards is really, really useful. All right, so that is what we can do with our re.match objects. I should add as one last thing, because I'm always saying here, if m, right, if we got a match object, all match objects are true. All match objects are true. So basically, if m is false, that means that we did not get a match object back at all. Rather, it means that we got none back from the system, and none is the way that the regular expression engine says to us, hey, I didn't find anything. All right, that's it for this time. Tune in again soon, and I'll be back with more of my Python Standard Library video explainer series.